Welcome to Ballet Bites. We're diving into Coppélia, the ballet that's as cheeky as it is charming, with its village vibes and clockwork crush.
I'm pumped for this discussion. There's a lot to unpack in the mix of folk traditions, tech updates, and those delicious love triangles.
Right. So let's start by talking about modernization. How much is too much modernization for, Do we stick with a straightforward Galician village setting or plug in some high-tech twists? It's like, can you mix USB cables with rustic charm and still keep the soul?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen that in the Scottish Ballet's 2022 reboot, where the stage had live cameras and screens. It was a playground of reality in an artificial world, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And that production really played on the fact that Coppelia's original 1870 plot was almost proto-sci-fi. You've got Franz dazzled by the surface and Swanilda demanding depth. Like, it's a timeless question of appearance versus substance.
Yeah. But then, if you try too hard with tech gimmicks, you might lose that clear footing that newcomers love about the comedy and mime in the workshop scenes, right?
Exactly. The best updates keep Swanilda's agency and ensure Coppélia remains a visual playground without, drowning the dancers in flashing lights or too many digital distractions.
Right. And that suspense really sets the stage, pun intended, for how we view Dr. Coppelius in a modern context. Who do we see him as in 2025? A buffoon, a tragic tinkerer, or maybe something darker?
That's a great question, because some productions play him as a comical, almost cuddly character, while others give him this edge of real menace. I think if you turn him into pure slapstick, the danger in the workshop scene just, kind of evaporates.
Right. And that dial of characterization really impacts the overall tone. If Coppelius is too cartoonish, the risk to Franz doesn't hit. The stakes feel too low. But if he's layered as a lonely, obsessive tinkerer, then you get both the laughs and a, subtle tension.
Exactly, and it's all about finding that balance. It's like, he could be the architect of his own downfall, even while trying to create something alive. There's a fine line,
Now, moving to something that's just as central. The folk and character dances. The Act War Mazurka and the Hungarian Czardas are not just dance numbers, they're cultural keystones.
Right on. Those dances actually gave Coppelia a historical punch, a sort of first in ballet, like the first Hungarian Czardas. But we have to ask, do we celebrate these movements as they are, or update them for cultural authenticity?
That's the tricky part. I mean, if you over-modernize them, it might just feel like a generic march. The original character flavor needs to breathe.
Exactly. And there's also this debate about whether these dances, like the Mazurka, should be rethought to avoid stereotypes, while still capturing their genuine spirit.
In fact, there's been some insightful notes. Pittsburgh Ballet Theater mentioned that the authenticity in the weight and rubato of these dances is crucial. Keeping it real is where the magic lives.
Absolutely. And it opens the door for companies to innovate, like inviting local folk groups or having pre-show demos. Imagine a little folk lesson right before the performance, teaching audiences the roots behind each step.
Right. Now, let's talk about Coppelia as the ideal first ballet for modern audiences. Do you think it really works as a gateway for ballet newbies in 2025?
Yeah, totally. It's got clear pantomime and a plot that's easy to follow. A love triangle with a humorous twist. Kids giggle at the doll glitches, and adults catch on to the satire of infatuation versus genuine love.
Yes. And the musical cues by Delibes, they're catchy enough to stick with you, like earworms that draw you back for another listen, even if it's a remixed version with hip-hop beats, as seen in some reviews.
Sure. And a streamlined runtime with engaging pre-show notes really helps non-ballet fans get into the story. It's all about context, right?
Yeah, but I do wonder, would a heavily modernized version risk alienating those who appreciate the classical charm of the original staging?
That's a good, fair point. I think the key is balancing fresh tech elements, like interactive screens or minimalist AI touches, with the core essence of Delibes' score and the inherent mime style. It's a layered update without losing the plot's clarity.
Speaking of clarity, there's also the intriguing angle of casting traditions. What's your take on revisiting casting? Like the fact that the original Franz was actually danced, by a woman?
Oh man, that's a fascinating twist. The Petipa Society notes that Eugénie Fiocre originally danced Franz in travesti, which opens up a conversation about gender performance and agency. It's a chance to challenge who gets to play the ideal in love.
Exactly. And with modern theatrical trends, revisiting those dynamics, perhaps even including same-sex pairings, could underline the ballet's inherent humor while exploring deeper social commentary.
Yes, and Swanilda is such a powerhouse in that regard. In many productions, she's the one who drives the plot, outsmarting Coppélius while saving. It's crucial that her role stays sharp and vibrant, not just a supportive role.
Yup, that balance is golden. And even those smaller, nuanced casting choices, like ensuring the Czardas couple are co-equals rather than one-sided caricature, really make a difference.
Totally. It's about keeping the heart of the ballet intact while being open to reinterpretation, like updating the surface details, but respecting the spine of the story and its musical cues.
Correct? And that brings us to a neat checklist for staging Coppelia today. What's the first point you'd hit on?
First up, keep the comedy bright. Swanilda's broken doll bits should be, perfectly timed with the orchestra, a kind of, high-wire act of humor and risk that even kids can enjoy.
Second, give Coppelius a layer of empathy. Rather than a mustache-twirling villain, play him as a desperate, lonely craftsman. That nuance makes the performance resonate with both kids and adults on an ethical level.
Right? And third, honor the cultural dances. Maintain the grounded bounce of the Mazurka and the slow-burn swagger of the Czardas. This is a heritage in motion that shouldn't be diluted by overdone choreography.
Fourth, dial in the tech updates responsibly. Whether that means interactive set pieces or subtle digital cues, the updates should illuminate the theme without overpowering it.
And fifth, use smart outreach. Pre-show talks, mini demos, and behind-the-scenes reels can make Coppelia not just a performance, but a full-on experience that educates as much as it entertains.
Absolutely. Plus, those outreach efforts can really help in making Coppelia the ideal first ballet in 2025. It's accessible, fun, and thought-provoking all at once.
Exactly. Like a bite-sized deep dive into theater history and modern reinterpretation all mixed together. It's as if each performance tells an old story with a new twist, kind of like layering old vinyl with fresh remixes.
One thing that's really cool is how all these discussions tie back to the roots. The world premiere on May 25, 1870, and the iconic role originally danced by Giuseppe. It's amazing to think that such an old story can still pop culturally today.
Exactly. It's proof that the core narrative of a nifty love triangle, of seeing past surfaces to true substance, remains relevant. The underlying message transcends era-specific details, which is why Coppelia endures.
And while some might challenge the modern updates as being too flashy, I'd argue that, in a way, they're just new layers on an already rich tapestry. It keeps the conversation alive in both classical and contemporary spaces.
Right. And that's the beauty of the ballet. It's like a living conversation across time, where each new generation can reinterpret the humor, the danger, and the authenticity without losing that, essential heart.
Yeah. So, in the end, Coppelia is not only surviving, but thriving in 2025, as it challenges us to look beyond the surface into deeper artistic and social questions.
Absolutely. And that's what keeps Ballet Bites on point, exploring these layers of art and culture with both passion and a dash of humor. Thanks for diving into this with me.
Thank you. It's been a blast. And folks, keep the conversation going when you catch Coppelia next. Like, subscribe, and let us know what modern twist you'd love to see.